sure. So how'd you end up in the saltwater world as you got a little bit older?
So I stuck with my the surf casting
Yeah.
over the summers, and then the magic age of 14, when you can start working, came around, and I'd see all my friends go to Market Basket, and they'd start working supermarkets, do little things to make a little money, and I think it was my mom or my dad who told me, and this always stuck with me. But he said, "Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life."
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad was like, why not see if any bait and tackle shops are hiring or any boats. I was too young anyways to be a mate. I was experienced well enough to start mating for anyone. So I went on Google in my room, looked up, bait and tackle shops near me. I remember my first call was Bridge Road.
Yeah.
Obviously it's just run by Randy and his son. So no need. And that's when I came across Crossroads. I gave a call, and actually I think it was Jim who picked up.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Jim was working back then?
Oh, yeah. No, it was 3 years ago.
3 years ago, right? Yeah.
We would have been there.
Jim was working, and I called, and he said, "Yeah, come in on Tuesday." I forgot what day it was, but come in on Tuesday and get an application.
There's an application.
There's an application. Yeah, there's a form.
They probably made it up on the spot.
Right. So, so I remember, I'm so psyched. Oh, I got a job interview at Crossroads Bait and Tackle. Obviously, my dad hyped them, looking to get my first job. I pull up in a collared shirt, khakis, all buttoned up, ready. Come across Mike. First time I met Mike, I'm thinking he's going to sit me down in his office. Here we are standing by the clams, just talking. Then, sort of just asked me, what kind of fishing do you do? You have a boat, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And basically just told him, never really had any background of fishing, but I learned myself, really into it, and just willing to get better and willing to work. And that day, I got a call from Jim saying, "Hey, do you want to work on Saturday?"
Yep.
And so
they threw you right into the fire on Saturday, huh?
Right away on Saturday that day. I mean, I was psyched. I can't.
So what was that first day like when you showed up?
Oh, I was there. I was definitely nervous before. Yeah. I mean, first time meeting Mike, this big, tall guy.
Yeah.
And, I was nervous, and I think they put me on chum the first day.
Of course.
They have to.
Yeah, definitely.
They have to.
They got to see if you're going to last.
They have to. So I was, there's obviously a few moments where I messed up, left some freezers unplugged, just simple, stupid stuff like that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, as much as the chumming was bad, I was learning so much about fishing and really experiencing and learning what the industry's like, that at that point it was just all in.
It's a unique industry once you start getting into it from the different sides. We have a lot of relationships with all the tackle shops around here, and boat makers and tackle stores, fish finder companies, and things like that. And the behind the scenes of everything is just really interesting. Yeah. But it's kind of funny how almost everyone has that fishing background because they love it, no matter what aspect of it that you're in. Whereas like other jobs, it might not always be like that. No. So it's always definitely cool. And then
it's awesome because it's a passion. To be in it for business. It really is. You don't do it for the money,
not
right?
At all.
No.
Yeah, it's about being in that environment. And being in a bait shop though, that's a unique environment.
Yeah.
Like Chris and I, we frequent bait shops. We have our relationships. It's awesome, but we're not there all day. So I can only imagine some of the people you might meet. It's got to be a character city.
So at the time when I started working there, it was just Donnie, Mike, and Jim.
Yeah, just the three of you.
Just the three of us. Yeah. So I was 14. I can't remember how old Donnie was.
Is he like 26 or so now? So he might have been 23 or so.
23, something like that. And then obviously Jim and Mike.
Yeah.
I remember. That's when Jim used to work mornings. Mm-hmm. So I'd work with Jim all the time.
Yeah.
And I definitely built a really good relationship with Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, they're both great guys. They're both wicked passionate fishermen.
Insanely, yeah.
Yeah, Jim just got his captain's license, last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, so he's
getting
been
it the first year,
building a little business there for himself, and great guy. Another huge guy.
Oh, he's...
Him and Mike.
They're giant.
When Harry was there, they were all like 6'6", dude.
I think it was like, 5'5" when I was 14, so at least I had Donnie with me to help me with the height.
What's wrong with being 5'5", Hugo? I remember I can relate to you when you went in for your interview. You said polo shirt, khakis, right? So I think it was my senior year in high school or freshman year in college when I first started working on the party boats. And I think it was actually like Easter Sunday. So I was kind of dressed up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go down and talk to the guys down at Captain's Fishing Party, see if they're hiring. Yeah. And it's funny to hear my good friend Justin, who's part of Miles on the Merrimack. He's been on a couple podcasts. he loves busting my balls about the story because he goes, man, you showed up, you were wearing like an Abercrombie polo, and like, and I'm like, this kid ain't gonna last,
Yeah.
you know. And then what they do is kind of similar. They throw you right into the fire.
They do.
You have to keep calling them and bugging them to get on your first trip, and then they take you for a ride that first day, so to test you out. But it's more like you're testing yourself to see
Yeah.
if you can do it, because it's tough work. If you're
It's-
not into that rhythm, woo, those potty boats can kill you. But still, best job I ever had. Absolutely loved it. And then so when you're working at the bait shop, you see all kinds of fishermen, right? You see the charter guys, the commercial guys, the guys with the families.
Scumbags.
Yeah, a few of those. You know, you get all types of demographics,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So people generally good to you, though?
Oh, they were great.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've had, the few
Yeah.
rough encounters, but sort of the big names, the big fishermen, and even just the day-to-day customers, the families, they've all been great. Because, they're there to do something that they want to do and
Yeah.
they like to do. So they'll never give you any crap about it.
That's what I mean. Like if you're going fishing and you need to go to get bait, like you're in a good mood. Like you're
Exactly.
going fishing.
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
not going to work,
No,
right?
If you're a commercial fisherman that hasn't caught anything in 3 weeks, it
Yeah,
might be a
those-
different
Those were
story.
the days that were a little tough.
Yeah.
So, like, as a young guy who's working in the bait shop, and I'm sure there are times where you were just in there by yourself, maybe
Yeah.
somebody was out back. How would you handle if somebody had a question you really weren't sure? Would you just tell them I'm not really sure, or would you kind of just go off what you heard guys were doing just to start off to get yourself out there?
So, I think when I first started working there a little bit, I think Mike put me in the shop by myself
Yeah,
pretty early on because only had 3 of us. But the first time I sort of had that question, I was pretty lean on the I'm not really sure because I don't want to mess up.
yeah,
And then I was like, you know what? I can't keep doing that all the time. I sometimes have to infer because it is fishing. You never really know.
yeah.
And you always hear people talk, and sometimes I'd call Mike about a question, piss Mike off. Don't call Mike when he's not in the bait shop
Oh.
and he's busy.
Yeah.
Don't call Mike. But yeah,
At the gym.
he's at the gym. Yeah, so sometimes I definitely would sort of infer things, and I think it always worked out because they never came back pissed off the next day if I was wrong.
It's kind of funny too. Like, think of it from the perspective of the customer. They were like, "Yeah, I went there, and this little kid just told me what to do, and I actually caught some fish." What's like the most common question you get working in a shop like that day to day?
Where are the fish?
Well, other than where?
Other than the fish, I mean, we always get those calls about other fresh mackerel. That's a classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a classic. Sometimes you don't answer in the most excited way because
Yeah.
we get about say 100 of those per day,
yeah,
and when we're packing bait, the shop's full.
Well, in the client's and the customer's defense,
Yeah.
Fresh mackerel is a big deal.
It is.
It
No,
is.
Stays on the hook.
As I got older, it
so,
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most common question would be definitely where are the fish, obviously, but stuff about lures. I'd always get a lot of questions about what lures are hitting,
yeah.
and that was the year where the what's it called, the Savage Gear sandy lures were huge.
I remember those. There was like 2 or 3 seasons where, man, you couldn't even find one. I'd
Yeah.
literally go. I'd call Mike, and when he got his stockpile, I'd go in and buy them all off of
Yeah.
him. And you have to make another order. Yeah,
That was the year where I think that was my first year. That's when they were pretty big,
yeah.
and that was always my go-to.
Yeah.
I just always rely on that.
Do you have any color that you would suggest?
Oh, it was the I think it was the pearl white one.
Yeah,
I'd always go, classic pearl white in the day, go black at night.
yeah.